Hey guys, this is Phil from Indicator.com. Let's take a look at the BlackBerry Priv, their first vertical slider phone for a very long time, and also their very first Android, native Android at least, smartphone. So the first thing that you notice from the BlackBerry Priv is the dual curved display from the base of the size. Just kidding, of course it's a QWERTY keypad, but there is a reason that I mentioned it for the first place. Because overall it looks like a very business looking phone until you flip it to see the dual curved display that gives it a very futuristic and a very, say, refined look, so to say. There is a volume rocker along with the power key on the left and the right. On top you got the micro SD card slot along with the nano SIM card tray. There's a little bit of external microphone, and on the bottom you got the micro USB port with the earphone jack and additional microphone there. On the back you got the 18 megapixel of the Schneider Cosnox certified lens with the dual LED flash and the BlackBerry logo. This carbon fiber looking back panel is very grippy, so you will be very unlikely to drop this phone even when you're just opening the slider and typing on the fly. It's very grippy material there. The only thing about the back cover that I found out is that there's a gap between the device and the actual back cover, so you will be able to push that through and feel that little gap between the two. And it even feels like you can just tear this open. Of course, this is not suggested action, but you can see that the construction isn't particularly very well built of the back panel of the Priv. So this isn't something that you'd expect from a $699 device, which is very pricey. Even though how thin and sleek they have built it, this is out of our expectation in a bad way, and we are very annoyed by it. Now, there are two parts that you can look into this guy. First, is it a good BlackBerry? And second of all, is it a good smartphone as whole? So let's start with the BlackBerry part, because this is the BlackBerry all over. So let's take a look. So start with is the keyboard. It's got the almost identical keyboard as the BlackBerry Passport. It's a little bit cramped down due to its size, and it's kind of thin in the same time. So it's not exactly the easiest nor the best keyboard in town, but still, as a vertical slider, this is very, very good keyboard. So you can start typing right away. You can start typing right away. And just like the BlackBerry Passport's keyboard, the good part about this is that you can only not type on it, but you can even swipe on it. So you can swipe left to erase the word as whole. And then on top of that, you can even scroll that using your keyboard. So that's a really nice part, especially when you're just walking down on the street and you don't want to touch the screen. This feels like a really stable way of reading through your article on the fly. And all the other parts, including the productivity tab that's hidden right here, you can pull that up from the edge display, and here you get events and unread messages, tasks, and the favorite contacts, which all add up to your productivity, which is what BlackBerry is all about. Now, security is another measure that the BlackBerry takes very seriously, and they have done a very good job at keeping the updates of the security patches. So they have included the November update for now, and December coming very soon, and they have promised to bring the timely security updates to BlackBerry, and they even promised to Android Marshmallow update earlier next year. That's 2016, by the way. That being said, this is a very good BlackBerry. It's keeping all the nice things that the past BlackBerries had. On top of that, it's very latest and sleek in style. Style is a very important part of BlackBerry, so I would say that only adds up to the BlackBerry-ness of this device Priv. Now, is it a good smartphone? I'm saying that because BlackBerry is a smartphone, but it's not exactly the modern smartphone that you expect. BlackBerry Classic was a good BlackBerry. BlackBerry Passport was a terrific BlackBerry, but they were not exactly an everyday good smartphone. Now, this guy runs native Android because being a not good smartphone was mainly due to the lack of the apps, even though they were tending to run the Android apps. To start with, it's got a Snapdragon 808 hexa-core processor. It's got 6 cores, 2 big, 4 little. It's not as powerful as a Snapdragon 810, but this MSM 8992 is still a very powerful processor. We felt like the performance was very, very good, except for the fact that it does have a little heat. Heat sounds like a Snapdragon 810 thing, but 808 on the Priv still had that. The thing is, it's kind of random. It's not exactly the intensiveness of the apps that you run. Sometimes you just surf on the web and it gets really hot. Sometimes you play 3D games and it's not that hot. So I don't know what's exactly the factor that decides on the hotness, but there's a little heat and there's none at all sometimes. Now, talking about the software, they were very proud of their software, and I can see why they were. Usually the manufacturers, when they build up the first device for any kind of operating system, really is that they make a lot of weird mistakes like skinning it like hell. But they did it right and they barely changed anything. So design-wise, it's almost like a stock Android. So Android Marshmallow had a good material design and it keeps the same trail of the design languages because they barely changed anything. They only added some, including the white balance over here, the color adjust, white balance here and there, saturation, very good because there are a bunch of people who don't like the AMOLED colors. Tap to wake, screen wakes to lock screen notification or unlock, ambient display, headset plug-in action, so you can designate a shortcut when you plug in the headset, and there's a swipe shortcut. So usually the pull-up gestures have one icon, but you can have 3 customizable icons. And the little neat battery bar filling up the battery on the edge display when you're charging up your phone is really neat in the same time. Now the notification comes in the app arrangements and they're sometimes annoying, so I wish there was an option that I can turn that off. Now the camera wise, because camera is a very important feature of the modern smartphone, this is not bad. It's 18 megapixels, it's not the 35, so it can't be bad, but it's not great. It's not as great as the Galaxy S6 or the LG G4 Good, so you don't expect that, but it's still okay. The one big problem here is the camera app is just slow, so it's going to take at least half a second until you can see the photo that's got saved into your album. And there's a 2 megapixels front-facing camera, and yes, you did hear that right, having 2 megapixels front-facing camera on a 2015 smartphone that cost $699. Numbers are not everything, but when the numbers are especially lower, like 2 here, numbers do matter. And the front-facing camera takes really bad, terrible pictures, so don't even try that. Now there is a front-facing speaker right there, which is a very good location, although I prefer the one on the bottom. Still, it's a very good location. Sadly, location is the only good thing about it. Fortunately, the earphone and the wireless sound qualities are terrific, so you will be definitely wanting to lean on that part rather than the hardware speaker there. Now it's got a 3400 milliamps of the battery built in. That's quite a number, and it holds up right into the promises that it makes. It shows up about the 4 to 5 hours of screen time, and I had a very hardcore usage. I use keyboard all the time. I was on 4G connection. Still, it held me with at least 4 hours of the screen on time at least. It supports Quick Charge 2.0, so you'll be able to charge from 0 to 95% within an hour and a half. Of course, that's not 100% filling, which is going to take about 2 hours, but 1 to 95 for an hour and a half sounds pretty good to me. So overall, as you can see, and as I told you, this is a good smartphone while being a good BlackBerry too. So it's a good BlackBerry that's a good smartphone first in town. I was very happy to see this guy performing very well, but there is a question when there's a Galaxy Note 5 and the Galaxy S6 Edge Plus, or the Moto S Pure Edition, or the LG V10, 100 or 200 bucks cheaper than the BlackBerry Priv, would you be willing to pay extra bucks for the physical keypad? Because the other phones that I mentioned are as good of a phone as the Priv is, if not better. Well, the answer is yours, but I definitely would. But I'm not really sure if there is still that many BlackBerry fans that are willing to pay that additional bucks to renew their BlackBerry fan certificate. So that was BlackBerry Priv. I loved it, and I think there will be a lot of people loving it, but I'm not really sure if this is going to be the trend anytime soon. But still, it was a very good refreshment and very good BlackBerry and a smartphone in the same time. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you guys later. Please do subscribe. We got social media, Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, and Google+. So don't miss that too either. And we'll see you guys later. Until then, since this is a slider,